Good morning, my friends. I hope you're doing well this morning. On April 21st of 1980, female runner Rosa Ruiz was declared the winner of the women's portion of the 84th running of the prestigious Boston Marathon. Her time of 2 hours, 31 minutes, and 56 seconds was not only the fastest female runner of that race, but it was the fastest female time in the history of the Boston Marathon. Shortly after she was crowned the winner of the race, however, other runners began to voice their suspicion as to the validity of her win, because one runner stated, for instance, that Ruiz lacked the knowledge of terms that would have been fundamental to a seasoned marathon runner. Others noticed that her physical condition upon finishing the race did not bear the signs of fatigue and exhaustion which was shared by all of the other runners. Video footage of the race was reviewed with no evidence of Ruiz at any of the checkpoints along the race or the course of the race. The only image providing evidence that she had actually run the race was the clip of her crossing the finish line. And then finally, two college students that were there that day as spectators testified that they had watched Ruiz bolt from the crowd and onto the course just a half mile from the finish line. And so just 8 days after being crowned the winner and record holder, Ruiz would be stripped of the title. And Ruiz's approach to the Boston Marathon is incredibly appalling. To attempt to overthrow exhausted runners that had endured 26.2 miles while herself only running 1/2 of a mile is the apex of deception. While Ruiz's name will forever be an emblem of shame and deception, it is not uncommon, however. It's not an uncommon exception that is found in the race of life, because there are many that attempt to sidestep sacrifice and avoid the commitment necessary to succeed in life. There are many disciplines and there are steps of preparation that are necessary regardless of the career path that one might take or the different challenges and ventures that we launch into throughout our life. And attempting to join in these efforts a half mile from the finish line may result in some immediate reward and applause, but sooner or later it will bring disqualification and reproach. So let me share today a few necessary challenges that must be faced by everyone that desires to succeed. It is necessary, number one, to possess the desire to grow. If your growth and improvement is always someone else's idea, then you're likely headed to a Ruiz type finish. If you're constantly having to be pushed and prodded to invest in your craft or your skill or your position or whatever, then the end is likely going to be disappointing for you. And if you have faith that God created you for a specific purpose and as a part of a divine plan, why would you be content to settle for anything less than achieving that level of greatness He's called you to? So if you have been entrusted, for instance, with a position of leadership, you've got to develop an insatiable hunger to be the best leader you can possibly be. If you have been called to be used in gifts or skills to help others, you got to decline any distraction that would move you toward mediocrity and average. It's necessary to possess, number two, patience before preeminence. Again, regardless of the avenue that you're serving in, this challenge applies to us. Many times we want others to trust us enough to loyally follow our lead. We want to be handed the reins and surrendered the keys to the company, so to speak. However, before you can ask others to loyally follow you, you must first be willing to demonstrate loyalty to those to whom you're following, those that are leading you. Don't ever allow ambition to cause you to assassinate leaders that have been placed in your life. Because yes, it may get you to the top quicker, but your motives will be witnessed by others who will likely cause you to eat at the same table you prepared someday. A very quick reference to the proper display of patience can be seen in David's relationship with King Saul. Saul, who has been appointed by God to be the first king of Israel, has been rejected by God for disobeying God's commands. And as a result, his heart has been filled with rage and is evil. He has become insanely jealous of David, who God has placed his favor upon. In fact, David was anointed to be the king of Israel, even as Saul still occupies the throne. Saul therefore begins to hunt David. He's infatuated with a desire, bloodlust, if you will, to destroy this young man that has been nothing but loyal to Saul. And David had multiple opportunities to rid himself of the rabid pursuit of Saul, but each time he would declare that he would not raise his hand against the man that God had positioned in leadership or authority over him. Without question, it would have hurried David's rise to the throne, but instead, David waits patiently and remains loyal to Saul. As a result, David would be followed by a team of leaders that were incredibly loyal to him. And finally, for this morning, it is necessary that you never toot your own horn. Social media, for instance, is infested with Rosa Ruiz types deciding that instead of allowing promotion to come from above, we'll just take care of that ourselves. And so what happens is every platform of opportunity is trumpeted, every success is amplified by ourselves, and every skill is self-endorsed. The Bible tells us that God will exalt those that are humble, but it also warns that he will likewise cause the proud to stumble. And I've learned that it's best to keep my hands on the steering wheel and let someone else blow the horn. I know it's a challenge. A Hall of Fame football player, for instance, Walter Payton, stated, his name was Sweetness. He stated that, and I quote, "When you are good at something, you tell everyone. When you are great at something, they all tell you." I know it's awfully tempting to skip the process and run the last half mile, if you will, by proclaiming your greatness, but it isn't God's way, and it really isn't a good way. These are necessary challenges that we must all face. So today, get a hold of that insatiable desire to learn and grow, be patient with the process, and allow others to declare your greatness. I hope this helps you. Let's pursue success. God bless.